this video, as per the last 4 videos on this channel, I'm going to be showing you the specific examples of my week in review, as well as break down for you some of the trades that were taken by sorry, I'm looking over at my other screen here, by the people in our group, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to go during and basically find yesterday, or let's just start at the beginning of yesterday, just by the end of the day. So we'll just go over here and then we'll scroll down. So here's the start of yesterday, right? And we're just going to go through an example of what it can look like to trade the way we trade. And then I'm going to break down my trades and I'm going to show you what it means to, function on a lower time frame or on any time frame for that matter, and what you should expect as an actual trader going forward. Because a lot of the industry is murky with basically the winning side of trading, right? And that's great. You want to learn how to win in this market, and that's something that you're going to build over time. And of course, your wins are going to be the thing that literally make you profitable or not. However, the very essence of winning isn't just rooted in the wins. Winning is also rooted in how you manage your other trades that either A, end up to be small profits, B, end up to be break evens, or 3, end up being minus ones, and how over time the accumulation of those 4 things, profits, break evens, losses, and minor profits on a trade that you might be wrong on, accumulate into an overall system. And only when you have those 4 properly adjusted under your actual edge and following a proper rule-based system is when you start seeing real profitability in the market. Now, you can see my screen right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in and show you my week so far. So I only traded on Sunday at night, which was basically Asian session, then the next morning, and then today's morning. So for me right now, it's actually Tuesday. So it's February the 22nd for Tuesday. Again, this video is going to come out a little bit later, but it's going to showcase a very, very deep thing that a lot of people don't recognize about trading, or about trading, for instance, lower time frames or much higher RR based positions, right? So as you know from my last few videos, coming into the week, I've been still looking for this low to get liquidated, right? It still hasn't happened, but you can already see how much stuff has surpassed during this week already within all these areas, right? So I've been basically trading every single day with the bias that we currently have on the buy side, on the sell side, and I've been profitable. I'm up 25 RR right now. I'm going to break it all down for you right now. And we're just going to break it down for you so you can see it and then show you examples from the actual group itself. Right, so coming into the week, as you remember, we are still coming from this high right here, pushing down as we spoke about in the last few videos, right? For people that are new or watching this video as it's standalone, right? I still suggest you watch the others, but what we have is the breakdown below this structure right here. That structure breaks down, right? So this is what we're viewing as that break of structure on this higher time frame. And as you know, the way I like to trade is to set a bias, create a range within that you're trading in, see where price is, see where it might be heading or where it's heading from, and basically formulate an idea about where it's going to head next, and allow that idea of where it's going to head next to determine your lower time frame biases, your lower time frame ranges, and your lower time frame criteria within those ranges, right? So that's that idea of when we follow this up to its supply zone that causes breakdown, we know it comes from this wick here. Why the wick? Because we know on a lower time frame that is its own up push before a down push. So if we zoomed in to that on a lower time frame, it's going to be its own up push, right? And we're going to see that. I'm not going to do this here. I did it in my previous videos. So coming into the week, we failed to push above this. Here's the idea of absorption, right? When price pushes above a supply or demand zone, but fails to close above it on the time frame that you've selected that zone on, or on the time frame of the actual impulse, right, or range, then that is the concept of absorption occurring. What's happening is institutions or smart money or big players are protecting very, very large positions at these areas and pushing that price back down every time it slaps above it. And what they're doing at the same time is picking up the liquidity just above that high if they need to, or most of their unmitigated orders that might have occurred in that area or could have even surpassed and been on some area on the left here. But we don't even need to zoom out or look like what's happening here because of this idea of absorption and how we utilize it in our charts to formulate an overall opinion and bias in the market. So Coming into the week, of course, we're pushing away, so I'm still bearish on this. Where are we bearish to? This low right here. Even though we might be completely wrong, notice it doesn't really matter because of the number of trades that we've already been able to take, right? We step down to a lower time frame, and as we do that, of course, we notice we're in this bullish push right here. However, because we understand we're in an overall bearish bias, that bullish push acts as intermediary or potentially fake structure, right? So instead of this zone right here, as we speak about, acting as an actual area that price wants to go long from, even though, again, remember this, if you check this in the future and price comes and actually makes this run, that happens. That's part of trading. Part of trading is making an assessment and then allowing it to play out and completely being wrong about it over and over and over again, because you understand that your edge doesn't just come from being right about a bias, because many people are right about biases. I'm sure even people that started in the retail space, right? They know that when they analyze and they have their little support resistance lines drawn, they're like, okay, it's going to come here, hit this, go up into here, right? And then they check the chart, and what happens is price does something like this, right? It comes in, maybe starts going, comes in, maybe grabs all that liquidity or whatever they call it, right? Comes up, hits the support again, right? And then runs to that point. So in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm right. My directional bias was right. I was correct about running into this resistance. I was right about the support. I was right about this supply or this demand, right? Whatever it might be, whatever terminology you're using or whatever concepts you're using, you can get stuck a lot on this idea of being right about direction, but not being right about the actual profitable side, because profitability does not come from being right about direction. It comes from that synchronization of the four things discussed prior, right? It's understanding that you have a system that you follow. That system only gets you in when you have the bias, the zones, the confirm. As I've taught always on this channel, we have the 3-step rule, the 3-box strategy, which is basically rooted in the idea of structure, supply and demand, or POI or AOI, whatever it is that people like to call it now, it really doesn't matter. And then Wyckoff, aka the confirmation. That confirmation can be a number of things. People in the mentorship know what I'm talking about. The double MBs, the triple M's, and all those other things. And people on here, you guys know what I'm talking about in the form of potentially Wyckoff, or potentially the weak to strong hands, or the idea of liquidation, right? We've taught this a lot on this channel. You can check that out. So even though there is this bullish bias here, and even though it might continue, the overall assessment from a smart money perspective is that price failed to push through a bearish structure, and that bearish structure is on the higher time frame, so it's holding price down, and as a result, we expect that absorption to now be released at potentially areas here, so it's being mitigated, but more likely than not, the areas below that as a form of liquidity, and the areas that are part of that overall range, which is right here. So coming into the market, we're more on the bearish side, and we want to be more opinionated towards the bearish side on EU. But again, depending on the time frames you're trading on, you can be consistent and find things on both time frames, right? On all time frames, basically. So I'm gonna now quickly break you down through my trades and what occurred this week so far. So let me delete all this. As you understand, we are bearish as a result of all the things I just explained a second ago. And here we go. Coming into the first day, and I've tried my best to leave all my markups on the chart as I did them this week. I usually delete them as I go, just because I like to keep my charts clean. But I left them up as I did them over the last 2 days, because this has only been, it's only Tuesday right now. So that means, we traded Sunday night, which is this area here. You can see the few break evens and -1s. We're actually going to go into that in a second. Then you have, so that's all of the night, basically. This is the Asian session, or just before the London Open. So I just took a few losses there and break evens, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Then the next day, this was the morning. This is where I had my first good trade of the week. Ran very nicely, secured 12.5 RR on it total. And then another trade in here. We're going to talk about that in a second too. And then today we had our morning session where I secured one play, and then the rest were basically -1s and break evens. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video and showcase my week to you, and also try my best to leave most of my analysis on, is to show you what actually occurs in this market from a standpoint of the 3-box strategy, as I teach on this channel, or from this idea of, you needing to follow structure, your SND, and your confirmation. Recognize, just by looking at this, how many of my zones failed to hold, right? If we follow this, coming into the week, you see I was actually looking to sell here. Price came right through it, a failed zone, right? Price came up here, it failed a few times, came up, failed a few times, came up, failed a few times, came up, Started coming down, I started to sell into it, failed a few times, started selling again, failed again, right? Then we go over here to the next day, and I'm gonna zoom in further on these and explain them more in depth for you guys. I'm not gonna break down some of the more mentorship side of things. It's gonna be for the webinar this weekend. However, I'm gonna break down as much as I possibly can for you in this video, for those of you that actually end up watching it. So, you know, here we finally have that great play that then comes back up, runs us to break even, begins to break. We start looking to buy again. Nice buy again. This was a really good one. And then once again, as you're seeing my analysis, notice how many zones are still failing, right? I still have zones drawn out here. Zones are constantly going to fail and work. So a really important thing I wanted to talk about today with you guys is to recognize that I want my zones to fail, right? You want zones to fail more often than not, because that means that once you're in on a trade, you're set to make a shit ton of money, or to have real profitability run your, or have direction run for you, right? So what I mean by that is, you know, assume we have this structure occurring right here, right? Okay, it's never this clean, but let's say this was the structure. And then officially we have some kind of break a structure, right? So you have that breakdown, whatever, you have your 3 box, right? You have your impulse, your SND, and you're waiting for that Wyckoff, right? However it is that you want to analyze this, you have your Wyckoff occurring, breaking down. So there's many ways to view this from a smart money perspective. However, as price now comes back up into the zone, right? And you're looking to trade this one right here. Here we go. And you're looking to trade it right here. Imagine that you do get yourself an entry, right? So let's say you have the Wyckoff occur, weak to strong hand transfer. You look to get involved on that supply zone as so. You look to sell down that supply zone, right? Your stop loss is protecting the high. Price begins to break down. Maybe it breaks down one more time. You move to break even based on the video that I made prior on risk management, where I teach you and show you how to use the 3-box method to properly look at moving your trades to break even, and how to properly look at that from a standpoint of not just RR, but literal mitigation and the order flow that's actually occurring on the chart, right? Following that lower time frame definition in terms of structure to view when you can move, right? So if you're getting in here, the second that this price shifts here, even though this might be less than 1-to-1 RR, you're not partialing, but you can already move this trade here to break even. Because at this point, if price comes and even wicks it or breaks it, the idea is we've broken on some time frame or on some intermediary structure to the top side, and there's a likelihood that price wants to continue long. So this is what happens a lot of the time for the people that, you know, look to get involved. They get in on a good trade at a supply zone, price begins to run, and then they get taken out, and they think this is a big loss, when in reality it's nothing more than a break even and just a very nicely managed position, right? So the reason I break that down for you is, now imagine you're in this sell right now, right? So this is what we're going to talk about in these cases here and what actually occurred. If you're in this sell, the reality from a standpoint of smart money is you have new zones and new structural points inside that are bullish, right? You have bullish points from here to here. Maybe on another time frame, you have a bullish point from here to here, right? These are all bullish points, which means across other time frames, right, there are going to be Anakin, calm down. There are going to be demand zones that exist, first of all, inside of the lower time frame ranges here, inside of this bullish range right here, over here, right? Inside of this overall bullish range, maybe here, maybe even 2 zones, right? Then you're going to have the bigger range, which is going to have maybe a zone here, right? And again, very quickly, you're gonna come back into this idea of striped pajama trading. So I teach a lot of people not to think this way, right? Where you're trying to draw out all of these points to try and catch a move, instead to focus on one impulse, focus on the areas within it or the delivery to it, and then you know, try to get yourself positioned and manage accordingly. But what's funny is, if you were in this sell as a trader, so let's assume you yourself right now are in the sell. Hey, Anakin, buddy, relax. Come here. You want to chill? You want to chill with me? All right, there you go. Come on, relax. So, you know, you have all these zones drawn out, right? As a trader, if you're in the sell, what do you want to happen at these zones, right? Do you want price to come and hit the zones and go long? Probably not, unless you're trying to hedge, right? Instead, if you're in this sell and you've managed yourself to break even, you want to milk the most you possibly can out of that trade, right? Why wouldn't you? So you're going to be sitting there hoping or praying or you know just looking up to the composite man gods, to the Wyckoff gods that are getting involved on all these footprints to push through all these supply zones or these demand zones. And in this case, you want every single one of these demand zones to fail, right? So you're looking at the market from the wrong perspective when you think, oh, my zones never hold. That is a good thing. If 2% of your zones hold, that means when you get involved on those 2% of zones with a given setup and you're in that trade and you manage it to break even and you're managed to now run, now the 98% of the zones above that point or below that point, if you're in the sell, are going to be points that technically at 98% accuracy are going to be traded through, which means all of that movement is free profit on your end, which is why as I get involved, right, I manage and then I allow those moves to accumulate into huge runners, right? Because what does that mean? A huge runner like this, what does that entail? It entails needing this demand to break, this demand to break, this demand, all this dumb smart money demand zones that they're watching, right? We're actually looking at them to fail. We want them to fail. Now, of course, there's going to be higher time frame zones that might actually support a bigger move up, and we might want to actually see that maybe hold. But the beauty is you can continue managing through it, because if you know that it's more likely for zones not to hold, right? Because a lot of people have the issue. They're like, my zones never hold. Well, that's a good thing, because that means that when they do, and when you have your 3-step process active and you're in that trade, right? And use my 3-box strategy to do that, right? You don't need all this other fluff on YouTube. It's all, most of it is just marketing across the exact same thing, right? It's always been, and I've always taught it, and it's always been this from the very start of my channel: structure or bias, whatever you want to call it, right? The same thing. It's a structural narrative. You want something to occur. You want to be bullish or bearish. Zone and SND, what I call supply and demand, the way I show you to draw them. Check out my channel for that. Or you can, think about it as an AOI or a POI, and then the confirmation of that in the form of Wyckoff or whatever it is. Now, when you have all those, first of all, these 3 things prevent you from trading bad zones, and these 3 things now allow you to get in on a zone and potentially be wrong, and that's fine, or be right big. And what's cool is once you're in that sell, you're looking at all these demand zones here, and even the maybe crucial demand zones as per a bigger structure to fail. You want them to fail. So the fact that a lot of them fail is actually a really good thing, because that's free money on your plate. Okay? So under that assessment, let's break down some of these actual trades. So coming into the Monday trade we have right here. Okay, so we're going to delete all these. I'm just going to break you down through this, and I'm going to show you some mentorship stuff just because I feel like it. And I think it'd be cool for you guys for learning experience, just so you guys can experience it and actually understand this from a psychological level, right? We're going to go back here. I'm actually going to go to a 5-second. I'm not going to break down every single trade, but I'm going to do my best to. Overall, I've been more short on EU than bullish, right? I actually had my I've had 2 wins, only 2 wins this entire week, right? And I've taken like 18 trades, and I'm still up 25 RR or something, or maybe less than 18 trades, but I'm still up 25 RR, 24 RR. I took a loss today, so 24 or 23 RR. One of them was on the buy side, which I tried to partial quicker because I'm more bearish, right? And one of them was on that short side, which we're gonna see. Oh, there was actually 3 wins, sorry. So it's been 3 wins, and the rest were losses or break-evens. And we're going to break all these down. You can see how many trades I actually end up taking, right? And how many don't run in my direction or complete the 3-box strategy, or complete the 3-box strategy, but run after taking me out. This is all part of trading. All these things I see in my comments sometimes, right? And I've seen this question a few times. Recognize it's an element of trading that you need to get used to, rather than complain about or, basically bitch and moan about and end up failing with, right? If you can't accept the fact that trades are made, the market can do whatever it wants at any point. And if you can't accept the fact that overall profitability comes from winners, losses, small wins, being right but still being wrong, and being wrong but still being right, accumulate it into a a overtime progression of growth in your account, that's profitability. And if you can't accept that, this is not the industry for you. Okay. Now that said, right, you can see my sells were more, I was more willing to have them, run significantly lower. I actually had this one. So this was not where I closed, right? I closed a portion at 1 to 10 or so. Then I closed a portion at around 1 to 20, I think 1 to 25. I think this was the portion because it was just under these lows. So I like that. And I still had this trade running to that 4-hour low as my, I think as my third partial. This was going to be my third partial. And then I had another one that was going to run to that daily zone, right? What's that zone right there? Where is that all coming from? Is it just random? No, right? We go to the daily. Clearly, it's the thing I've been talking about this whole time. The sell is somewhere in there. I mean, we can't see it right now because it's just a jumble because it's on a very low time frame. That was that target, right? There's that target. It's the exact same thing over and over and over again. And again, we don't need it to deliver there. And if it does, that's me done for the year, right? Or for the next 5 years, we're just done, right? It's like, this is how you build that consistency over time. I'm trying to be as real as I can with you guys, right? Like, these videos aren't just clickbait and shit like that. I can't do that. I want to teach you, so I just hope you're listening. Now, we'll jump back down and we'll look at some of these examples to basically get it really ingrained in your head that part of trading is taking trades the way that we do and having those losses occur on a normal basis and not getting confused over it and not getting upset about it. So we come around to, let's go to that 5 second. Let's go all the way to the left here. So you guys can see it from the very start of my week. So let's go up to here. Beautiful. So start of the week. Again, everything you see here, all these areas you see, you can go back and find these on the charts, are going to be basically structural 3-box ranges between the 1 minute and the 5 minute chart, basically, or basically the 30 second to the 5 minute chart. They're going to be structural ranges. So when you see this on a higher time frame, just like I teach the idea of the golden goose egg method, where when you zoom out, there's a structural narrative there, and you can look to confirm that to keep going short. That's as simple as it is, and then you confirm it with your zones that you have selected. So that's just going to be a higher time frame supply and demand zone, right? So I'm not going to step up time from here because I want to run you through this, but let's take a look at my week in review and consider what you would have done from the point of view of, would you have just gone completely crazy and decided to just start, YOLOing your account, or quit midway because of all the potential losses or break evens, right? My first day was actually, I was down for the day. So let me show you. So we come around to Sunday Asia Open. So it's basically Monday. Monday trading session starts, and I was looking at this, started confirming it down. You can see I took my first trade right there. Never even got a chance to break even it, right? So I was watching for structure on the inside, just like I taught you to watch for the 3-box on the inside. Never got a chance to break it even. Hit my stop loss instantly, right? Literally, like, if you think about this, it's an entry into straight stop, right? A lot of people, when they see that, already quit. Now imagine that happens to you 5 times in a row. You're done. Forex, scam. Mentors, scam. Trading, bullshit. I'm gonna go teach, right? Look, whatever it is. But you need to recognize that, if you can't live through this, you are not set up to do this whatsoever, right? So nonetheless, take that -1. Very simple. Allow it to happen. It's part of your strategy. And you should know that because you've tested your system over and over and over again. If you haven't, why haven't you, right? So we come back in, we get a new confirmation. I look to sell into it. As I sell into it, again, a lot of my entries, almost all my entries, are on the 1 second and 5 second chart. I know I get some questions about like spread and stuff. I'm not going to go deep into it right now, but recognize that, my first take profit is almost always at 1 to 10 or higher. And a lot of my trades end up break even. And, a commission loss on trades is nothing. It's actually very, very small for me, especially with the way I break even and move my stop accordingly. You can factor spread across many brokers. You got to go look up brokers. You got to go test what you're doing. There's many ways to be profitable in this market. Scalping is one of them. Again, I teach in my mentorship how to do this on higher time frames, lower time frames, even in the free YouTube. So it's available, it's there. But I prefer to do it on lower time frames because of the person I am. But all this stuff is applicable the exact same on the higher time frame. If you don't know how that's true, check out my last 3 videos because I kind of delve deeper into that. Now, come into here, we start going down. On a 1 second chart, there is a 3-box system switch in here, or like a shift in there. So at that point, break even on that. Fantastic. Price comes back, and that's a break even. Now already, again, how many of you are thinking, that's it, you know, my strategy doesn't work, it's never running my direction, the 3-box is never completing, it won't run my lows, right? Notice I'm taking all of these cells right here that you see, were all taken with the one bias created by this impulse here on a 1 minute chart. Imagine the amount of things you can do when we're talking about a larger time frame bias within a very big area, and you can do multiple things on both sides, right? There's a lot of things you can do. So we're going to go back to the 5 second here, scroll back on over here really quickly for all of you. And we're just going to go through these a little quicker now because I don't want to keep you guys for too long, right? So we're going to zoom in here, right? So once again, all of this is all still part of that same range, and all of them are sells, right? And none of them ran to my low, right? Does that mean my strategy doesn't work? Nope. But does that mean a lot of people that get to this point are going to quit? Yup. And I've seen it happen year after year. When I started tutoring in my mentorship, I've seen it, right? But I've also seen the people that understand what is happening here, begin to build their edge around it, use my journal in the mentorship to begin to actually build out a profitable edge and see that edge from the lens of a mathematical perspective, and then go, oh, you know, this is free money if I just follow it. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do. So, you know, let's just follow this down. I'm just going to walk them through. Break even on that, right? Price begins to break down. I break even in here on a 1 second, comes up, instantly takes me out of break even. Then starts breaking down again. I have another shift in my structure that I like to see. So I look to enter, I get in on a 1 second time frame. Again, price shifts, I think, in here. At that point, I broke even on the trade, came up, took me out of break even. Same thing, right? It might have even been a -1. Price didn't actually gap like this on the broker I was trading. It actually took me out at break even, but you know, it could have been even a -1 based on, you know, if it did gap. So, you know, we can consider that. Now, same thing. Price makes a new range break on a little bit of a higher time frame. I'm not going to break that down from the higher time frame, but there's another range in there. We have a zone selected. Price comes in. I begin to sell into it, right? And notice what happens. I sell in. I had no chance to move to break even. Price comes up, takes me right out, right? Starts going fully against me. Now, again, how many of you at this point are now looking to sell here because you're like, it has to be the last move? It's Wyckoff. It's fucking Wyckoff. It has to be the last move. Taken out. It's Wyckoff. Weak to strong. It has to be the last move. Fucking sell it. Sell it. Nope. It has to be Wyckoff. It has to be Wyckoff. How many of you are sitting there, you know, maybe on your new FTMO account, new Ment Funding account, maybe even your own account that you just started, going, it can be, it can be, it can be, it might be, it might be. Come on, come on. You know, I've been taking all these sells. There's no way it's not going to sell, right? And then you get liquidated. That's literally how it goes on repeat for a lot of people that don't focus on that emotional aspect or don't watch videos like this to the point they get, right? A lot of my videos have like an average view time of like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or 8 minutes, something like that, right? And I have 30 to 40 minute long videos, which means, you know, someone is taking that very bitter fluff off the top, right? They're just taking the butter off the bread and thinking that that's going to be good. And then they start eating the butter and it starts tasting like shit because butter on its own doesn't taste good. AKA, they're trading without any prior knowledge, any prior buildup of an edge, any proper analysis of what they're doing. And what do you think is going to happen when they're trading this? And then they go into my comments and go, the fucking $3 strategy didn't work. It doesn't run to my lows. My zones fail. Fuck you know, like, and again, like, and it just gets funny because, you know, if you're not going to put the work in, why are you even here? So once again, if you're looking to sell all those points, you're getting liquid on this. No other rule was met for me after these were met, and that was it. And I'm waiting here, and that's a down day for me, right? First of all, I have multiple down days sometimes. This is a down day for me, and I sit back, I wait. At that point, I think I logged off. Oh no, I had another trade. So it actually came up, began to finally break down again on a lower time frame. So I began the trade from it, had a confirmation, got in. There was a lower time frame shift in structure here. So what did I do? I broke even, just like I teach you to do, without any partials. Price came back up, took me out of break even once again, right? Same thing happened. I think there was one more break even in here, but it looks like I deleted it accidentally because I'm not perfect with this. But so we're just gonna leave that out. It's fine. Price comes up again, begins to break down. I get in. Price comes down. Makes its structural shifts on that lower time frame. I move to break even. Guess what? Comes and hits break even again. Now, how many people? Once again, this is like 10 trades in a row that are just either break even or losses. How many people are sitting there going, "Fuck that shit," right? Like, there's a good chance that you might be. So we keep following this. Again, same thing happens. Look to sell it again. Oh, this was the break-even one. Okay, right, and that's it. That's it. That's the end of the day for me. Then the next day comes along. The morning comes along. My first trade of the day. Once again, we have a range we're working with. Price comes into my range. I begin to confirm it. I get in. When do I break even on this trade? When do you think I was break even on this trade? So this was actually one of my good trades. So I'll go back into it and break it down a little bit. I'm not going to break it down from the exact standpoint of the mentorship because I give away my entire system in the mentorship and I just show it all as is, and people can do what they want with it. I don't really care. But to make it simple, we got involved right here on this up move right here. We got in a little bit of drawdown, but that's fine. Price begins to break down. When do you think I broke even on this trade? Right? Just follow this. What do you think? Well, I broke even on this trade the second price broke this low. So on this candle right here, at that specific second, literally how far into the trade? So we entered the trade on this candle. We got actually a better execution because it gapped, but on my broker it actually hit on the entry. So it was a nice entry. So literally after about a minute in the trade, we were at break even. Price is at break even, and at that point doesn't come back to break even, breaks down. Doesn't come up to break even, breaks down, and begins to properly break down. Okay, we're gonna zoom out to a higher time frame here, and we've broken the charts. Very nice. There we go. Right, and once again we break down. I partial at this low at around 1 to 10, so that's 1 to 12. So I partialed a little bit before because I always partial at 1 to 10 or more. Took my 1 to 10 off, then started to look for those lower prices. Started to look for those lower prices. I think I had a 25 RR TP on this, right? And again, same thing goes. And this one was the one that was targeting all those lows down there because it was part of that bigger bias. And once again, the exact same rules I used right here to enter this trade, as people in the mentorship know and saw, is the exact same rules I used to enter every single one of these. And guess what? This trade on its own has surpassed all of these losses in a dramatic way. This is a 12.5 overall secure. Right, it overall ran like 50 RR or something, but I pull out 12.5 of it. I'm happy to have trades run like over 100 RR and only pull anywhere from 15 to 30 RR out of it. That's how trading looks like for me, and I'm happy to do that because I know that it works for me, which is why again I try to teach you guys to think from this perspective of what works for me, what works for you, and what can you do to make that work better. So let's go to the left here again. All right, so that was my good trade of that day. Following that, we had price begin to, I don't know what this is, to be honest, so we're going to delete that. I think that was me just making a video for you guys another time. But once again, we have a new range that's established for me, right? I had a new range that was established, Goose method, but on a higher time frame, there was a range right here. That's that break of structure. I think it was on a 1 minute. Had a zone right here. Price comes in. I'll begin to confirm. I didn't get my confirm, right? Price begins to run without me. I know this happens to a lot of you. Remember, this could be a 1 hour chart. It would look the same. All of that shit is exactly the same. So instead, my trade ends up being here. You can see it runs by 1 to 10. I take out my first partial, and then it instantly goes against me, right? And then it comes to hit break even. But I secured plus 5 RR on that. So now, just with these two trades, the only two profitable trades so far out of, I think 9 trades or whatever it might have been, we're up over, what is it, like 15 RR, 14 RR, 12, this is 17.5, minus 2, 16.5, minus the commissions on the break-evens, so maybe minus 1 to be conservative. That's like very simple. So, plus 14, plus 15 RR total on this overall week, right? Now, again, my risk is significantly reduced. That's just how I trade. And then again, we're still in that range. Right, notice a range will give you endless opportunities. We come in, we start going, I get in, I break even on the move. Now guess what? That move keeps going, but I took a break even because my rule was meant to being break even. And that's also something you need to remember. Prices, even when you're right, sometimes you'll be taken out. Your job is to accept that, recognize that your edge is working, and then not get taken aback by it, right? Then I got another trade in here. That went to break even. I don't know where it went, but there was another break even in here. So same thing. Then I look to sell the new range established on a lower time frame here to sell back into this deeper zone because I thought this range would start delivering a little bit shorter now. And I wanted to get positioned as a head short. Get in, 1 second shifts, comes up, hits me out of break even. I'm out of break even again. Comes up, shifts, I get in, comes down, starts looking really good, comes back up, hits me out of break even. No partials. Once again, how many people are sitting there beginning to watch this and going, you know, weak to strong, let me get in. Oh, okay, it's going. Wait, it failed. No, I gotta get in again. It failed. Wait, I gotta get in again. Wait, it failed. But wait, it's breaking down. There's a Wyckoff in here. Sell it. Oh my god, I'm making money. Fucking shove it all in. You're out, right? And then again, you might even do it a few more times here, thinking this might be the UTAD. This is my UTAD, right? And again, you're just stuck in that same thought process as you probably were stuck in when you were a retail trader, right? And then that was the end of the day, I believe, right? There was nothing else. Yep. And then from there, we waited until the next session, which I believe. Oh no, so yeah, next session for me was that 9 p.m. I only took one trade, it looks like. Again, same thing, breaks down. Take a break even, all good. Head back over into today's morning. So right here, I get on around 7 a.m. I was watching, nothing to do. You can see, even right here, right? Same thing I was talking about. Multiple zones, holding and supporting my move. Some zones failing and not doing anything, but I couldn't even find an entry on any of them. You can see I was marking up as I was going on a lower time frame. No entries for me. That's part of trading, right? Then I finally get an entry right here. Price begins to run. Take off my partials at that 1 to 10 because I've noticed that 1 to 10 is always better for me after my journal. Again, like this, that's just my strategy. I actually have my strategy shared in the Discord, so you guys can go check that out if you're in there for the mentorship. Again, link is in the description. Don't text me asking for the link. It's right there. You can also see it on my screen. That's why I put it on the screen, make it simple. Once again, what do you see, right? Multiple zones either holding or not holding, but me not being able to get a play, right? But I'm already secured at the +5 on here for that 1 to 10. And once again, you know, I get in, no chance to break even, instantly goes against me. Does my strategy work? Yeah, I'm up over like 24 RR now, 25 RR, right? So we take that loss, it's all good. Head in later, get another sell in here, take a break even on that, begins to break down, right? You can see I had this line here, that was my partial at that 1 to 10, and price failed to get there. So again, part of trading is letting yourself be 8% up, right? 8 RR up, whatever your RR is. If it's 1% per RR, you're 8% up there, and you have to let it come back and hit you out of break even. And that's what we do. We do that every single day. And now, you know, and there's another -1 in here. So again, the same thing, right? And I'm gonna just really quickly just show you what we do here every single day. Whatever you see, if you see something on 2ndMB, congratulations, maybe you can learn about what it is. But as I go through this, right, what do you see? People are doing the exact same thing, right? Every single day. Beautiful trades, beautiful trades. I want to find some break-evens for you guys so you can see that it happens all the time. We were all basically laughing about the fact that, you know, it's time to take your break-even. Enjoy your break-evens because it literally means your system's working and you're going to make money. Great trade right here. You know, this was just one day. We're still on yesterday, right? Because I told you I was going to look at yesterday. But we go through all this and, you know, great plays across the board. Great plays across the board. You can see he had a break-even set. Almost got hit, but he was good. Ended up going. Great trades across the board. This guy looks like he just... Oh, no. So he took a break-even, right? I mean, we share our stuff every single day. We share it as per the concepts non-stop, right? Gets in, moves to break even though he hasn't taken a partial. Boom. Taken out at break even. Beautiful trade. Absolutely beautiful. That's what trading looks like, right? We can keep going through this. I mean, it's all the same stuff. We can just keep going through. Right, same thing here. He was right about the direction, right? He took off portions as price ran. It hit his break even, as you can see, BE hit, and then it dropped off. And that's part of the trade. That's part of the game. Sometimes this is going to get as far up as here and then drop, and he's going to be part of that. But you do this enough times and you actually follow your rules, and you're going to create profitability for yourself. Not financial advice, by the way. Right? And we can keep going through this. I mean, it's just all day. The same thing on repeat. People starting their MFF challenges, people starting challenges with MENT funding, people starting challenges with FTMO, people taking full completion trades, right? It's just nonstop. And it's every single day. And this is all still yesterday, right? It's one of the most active communities in the group, in the industry, right? This is kind of a little bit of an advertisement, but also just showing you exactly what I'm talking about, how, this trader is already break even on this move, right? Still break even. He's just letting it run. If it needs to run, he gets to run, right? He does. There's just the same thing on repeat, always. It never changes, right? We go through this all day. It's a great time, right? Fucking legend. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. But again, you can see this trade that he got into was already break even right there, right? Again, that was a little bit more R, right? But you can see here, he was break even on this trade right here, already up here. Wick comes close, but if you understand how to properly factor spread, this never takes you out, because again, you need to know how that system works. If you need help with that, feel free to join the mentorship. We help you every step of the way, and a lot of our members do too. Beautiful run. Really happy about it, right? Amazing, dude. Like, you killed it. I gotta go and hit the rest of these in a second, but this just happens every day. So I mean, join if you want to. You don't have to at all. I'm just showing you this so you understand that this break-even side of trading really does exist, and profitability comes from a number of things, not just your profitable runners. So take what you can out of this video, enjoy it, and thank you very much for spending the time here. Peace.